Here in step number 3, there's something, this is where if you're buying hop-up parts and everything, you got to kind of pay attention, okay? Alright, with step 3, with step 3, you're building this shaft, okay? Which is, what the main shaft, I think. What do they call it? Yeah, main shaft. Okay, so you're building the gear stuff, right? Okay. So this is a shaft that you would normally build for the gears, okay, to go into the gearbox, all right? This is the second piece here. Now, when you buy if you buy something like this BRK RC, they have a steel gear transmission set. Can't read that, I'm sorry. So what you end up having is, when you see these parts here, right? So this is that shaft that you're building, okay? Let me shift this over. That's as far as I can zoom on it, sorry. Okay, there we go. All right. Whoa. My camera just became unbalanced. There we go. Okay. This is what you get in that BRKRC kit, okay? This is what you get. It's a steel piece that's built, right? Now, if you see what you're building here with number 3 is this right here. So when you buy the piece, that's what this replaces. This replaces this main part, okay? So instead of, you can see the gear and you can see the shaft, right? So what you're doing, and you don't have to worry about putting, and if you were doing that, you would put these other pieces here, which are these here, which I didn't take off this T1 piece because it's a plastic piece, sorry. I didn't remove this T1 piece from the tree, and I only removed one of the T3 I've got down there because I got to show you where it goes on. There's T1, which is a plastic piece off the plastic tree, and these A15s are also plastic, and that T3 is a plastic piece, okay? Now, in step 3, so what you're trying to do is you're going to use, if you have the metal gear, you would take this and then you would use the additional parts, okay, to build that. Now, here's the thing. When you buy the slipper clutch set, okay, that's your main shaft that they're showing you built, right, in step 3. However, if you're using the slipper clutch, you're going to replace the main shaft with the slipper one, okay, with the slipper shaft. That's this piece. All right. So, see the resemblance? Okay. So, what you're going to do is you're going to transfer the parts that are needed for the slipper shaft over to this piece. So what we need is the ball bearing, and here's the thing to make sure you know it's the right ball bearing, right? In the manual here, if you see where it says MA9, that's a ball bearing, and there's 1050. That's the part number that Tamiya gave to it, okay? 1050. If you look here on this sheet that's from Tamiya, right? It says 1050. Hopefully that is focusing. 1050 ball bearing. That's how you know that ball bearing that transfers from there over to here, and that ball bearing transfers over to here, okay? So you're going to take the 2 ball bearings from this, which you have MA9 ball bearing, which is the large one. So that's the MA9. The MA9 is going to go onto this shaft here, okay? That goes on there, just like that. Okay. Now, the second piece is going to be the other 1050 ball bearing. Because you need 2 MA9 ball bearings. Where's the other MA9 ball bearing? That's MA11, that's an MA9 on the front. MA11 would be on that one, so we have an MA9 ball bearing. Oh, it's in here, it's in the slipper clutch set. Freaked me out. Great. So I don't have an extra sealed ball bearing. So I'm going to have one unsealed ball bearing that's going to go on the kit. So this goes on the back of this piece, okay? Set that on there. There's a little lip that stops the ball bearing from going all the way down. Okay, sorry. There's a little lip that stops the ball bearing from going all the way down, just so you know. So you're going to push that on and push that on, okay? That's what you do for that piece. Okay? So that is replacing that entire build assembly there, okay? If you were just using the metal kit and not doing a slipper clutch, then you would use this piece and you would replace these and use these pieces to make the main shaft, and then that would go into your gearbox, okay? There we go, the gearbox. That is basically, that piece is being that piece. But the slipper clutch set, you're using that. That's replacing that part, okay? All right, that's that part. Now, the second one here, this one here, all right, with the steel gear set, you get this piece, and that's metal, okay? Now, these pieces here, there we go. These pieces here are replaced by this piece here. This is metal, this is plastic, okay? This is plastic. See the little slot in the back of it? That's where that rod goes through, and that second little rod there fits into the hole, okay? Then you're using these A15 spacers. They go in the back and they lock that in, and then you put the ball bearing on the back and the ball bearing on the front, okay? And that's how you would build that. Now, so instead of building this piece with the steel gear set, with the steel gear that you get that piece. It's one together. You can see on the sides of it, there's a little lip right there. Okay? That's what these little A15 pieces are, these plastic pieces here. Those A15s are those little pieces on the side, okay? You have that piece, there's one on that side, and one on that side. Okay. So, as you can see in here, what we need to do, okay, we're going to take the ball bearings, okay, and we're going to put it onto this piece here. So you take this ball bearing, put it on that side, and then you're going to take this ball bearing and then push it onto that side. Okay, you got a ball bearing on each side. Okay, push them down, make sure they're nice and firm. There's a tiny little gap there. Tiny little gap that those spacers mimic, okay? So now this piece and this piece are going to replace, basically are these two pieces here, okay? This piece and this piece. They go into your gearbox. So this is all metal. Instead, this is a mix of plastic and metal, but the plastic gear, okay? Plastic gear. And then if you buy the steel set, you have this one if you're not using a slipper clutch, okay? But otherwise that replaces this whole set here, okay? So you're going to end up, since I'm doing the slipper clutch, I'm going to end up with this spare piece. Here's my two parts that are going to go in. These are spares from the original kit, okay? And these are now spares from the original kit. And for whatever reason, they give you two of these, the two plastic ones, probably because it wears out and you can rebuild it. So I'm going to save those just in case, okay? So these all parts are going to go into a bag. These are spare parts bags for parts for sections number 3, okay? So, and that's a sealed ball bearing. So I'm not going to put that with that kit. I'm going to put this back over here because that's going to be a spare one. Because I'm not using the ball bearings that came with the Tamiya kit, as you can see, because they're not sealed. Okay, so I actually still have these as backup. See, there's all those other little pieces, and that's actually that goes in another set. Okay. All right, so that was step 3, replacing these pieces here and replacing these pieces here, and you're establishing the slipper clutch set. Okay, that's what that was all about. All right.